Welcome in everyone to another lesson. Today we are going to talk about word problems. And at first glance, word problems can look rather intimidating because, well, it seems like they're throwing a bunch of information at you at once. But what's important with that is to be able to ask yourself, what are they asking you for? So we have an example of a word problem here. Tyler has $528 in his checking account. He spends $129. What is his new checking account balance? So once you have read and understood what they are asking for, next thing you want to do is set up a model equation. What I mean by that is he has $528, so you're starting with that. 528. He spends, so you're subtracting. He spends $129. What is going to be his new checking account balance? Usually in a word problem you want to find a variable to represent the solution. We can pick, what's his new balance? Pick a variable that makes sense. It could be any letter, but if we're going to go for balance, I'm going to say B. I'm going to say let B, you want to use a let statement, let B equal the new account balance. Alright, so start with reading and understanding what the problem is asking for, set up a model equation, use a let statement for your variable that you're going to use, and then solve for that variable, which is going to be 528 minus 129. We'll work that out on the side. 528 minus 129. Working that out on the side, we cannot do 8 minus 9. We can do 18 minus 9. We have to borrow 1 from the 2, which makes that a 1. So what's 18 minus 9? That's going to be 9. Well, we can't do 1 minus 2, but we could do 11 minus 2 and take 1 from the 5, make that a 4. What's 11 minus 2? Well, that's also 9. Then what's 4 minus 1? That's 3. So it looks like $399 equals B, which is your solution. So his new account balance is going to be $399. So basically what you're going to do is you're going to read the problem first, set up a model equation, pick your variable that you need, solve for that variable, and then your variable that you solve for is your solution. Express your solution in the units that it asks for, which in this case is asking for dollars, so $399. So yeah, that is one example of a word problem. Okay, now we have another word problem. It's going to be an addition problem also, addition subtraction type. An airline entered service in 1976. It had its first crash 24 years later. In what year did it crash? Okay, so again, we need to read and understand what it's asking for. An airline entered service in 1976. It had its first crash 24 years later. In what year did it crash? So we're starting, it tells you it started in 1976. So start with that. Then 24 years later is 24 years after. So that's plus 24 years from then. We need to figure out what year did it have us crash. We don't know the year yet. We'll call the year Y. So we'll let Y equal year of crash. So now you're left with the simple addition problem of 1976 plus 24. We'll work that out on the side. 6 plus 4 is 10. You keep the 0, carry the 1. 1 plus 7 is 8, plus 2 is 10. Keep the 0, carry the 1. 1 plus 9 is 10. Keep the 0, carry the 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. So we got 2000 equals Y. So the year of the crash is Y. So the plane crashed in the year, had its first crash in the year 2000. That is your answer. That's when it had its first crash. So far, so good. Pretty straightforward problem so far. Okay, now we do a little bit of a different word problem here. What is the total cost of 5 DVD players if each one costs $249? Okay, so let's read this problem, understand what it's asking here. What is the total cost of 5 DVD players if each one costs $249? So that tells you there are going to be 5 players. There are 5 of them. They're $249 each, so that's going to be times $249. Now we need to pick a variable to equal the solution. Again, any letter you want, but you probably want one that makes sense for the problem. You're trying to find the cost, I would pick C. So we'll use a let statement. Let C equal the total cost. Alright, so now you've got to solve the equation. You have 249 times 5. So you solve it on the side. 9 times 5 is 45. Keep your 5, carry your 4. 5 times 4 is 20, plus 4 is 24. Keep your 4, carry your 2. 5 times 2 is 10, plus 2 is 12. So it looks like $1,245 equals C, which is your total cost. So you'll express your final answer as $1,245. And that's what you get for the cost of 5 DVD players. Of course, nowadays they're a lot cheaper. The book I'm using is slightly outdated, but that's if they were $249 each. Which I can tell you now, if you find one for $249, you're probably getting ripped off. Okay, let's look at another problem here. A bottling company produces 3,304 cans of soda. How many 12-can cartons can be filled? How many cans are left over? Alright, so we want to figure out again, what exactly are they asking us here? Looking at the problem, a bottling company produces 3,304 cans of soda. How many 12-can cartons can be filled? How many cans are left over? So they give you the number, the total number of cans they have is 3,304 cans. They want to divide that into groups of 12. So there's going to be 12 in each group. That's divided by 12 to figure out how many groups of 12 there are. So let's pick another variable. I'm going to say C again. We'll let C equal the number of 12-can cartons. So now, in order to solve for that number of 12-can cartons, variable C, you have a simple long division problem. 3,304 divided by 12. 12 goes into 33 two times. 2 times 12 is 24. 33 minus 24 is 9. Bring down your 0 from the dividend. How many times does 12 go into 90? 12 goes in 7 times. 7 times 12 is 84. 90 minus 84 is 6. Bring down your 4 from the dividend. 12 goes into 64 how many times? 5 times. 5 times 12 is 60. 64 minus 60 is 4. You got nothing further to bring down from the dividend, so that's your final answer. You have 275 remainder of 4 for variable C for your number of 12 carton cans. So to express the final answer, you're going to have to express in the units they want. So that's going to be 275 12 carton cans four cans left over. So we found both. We found the number of 12 carton cans and then 4 cans left over. And that would be your final answer. Okay, now we're going to talk about a loan. We have Dana borrows $5,928 for a used car. The loan is to be paid off in 24 equal monthly payments. How much is each payment excluding interest? All right, so Dana borrows $5,928 for a used car. The loan is to be paid off in 24 equal monthly payments. How much is each payment, excluding the interest? We aren't even counting interest in this. So you start with your $5,928, right? $5,928. They're going to split that into 24 equal monthly payments. So they're going to divide that by 24. Now let's pick a variable to represent the solution that makes sense. I think letter P would be a good variable. And we'll say let P equal monthly payment in dollars. So now we need to just simply solve for P, which is it's a simple long division problem. 5,928 divided by 24. We can solve that off to the side. 24 goes into 59 how many times? Twice. Because if you do it 3 times, it'll give you 72, which will put you over. So 24 times 2 is 48. Subtract that from 59, you get 11. Bring down your 2 from the dividend. So now you got to figure out how many times is 24 going to 112. Well, 24 times 5 is 120. That'll put you over. So 24 times 4, the next one below it is 96. So it goes into 112 4 times. 4 times 24 is 96. 112 minus 96 is in fact 16. Bring down your 8 from the dividend. How many times does 24 go into 168? It goes in 7 times exactly. 7 times 24 is 168. Subtract it from itself, you get 0. So 247 equals P, which P represents your monthly payments in dollars. So it's going to be $247 per month. That's what you'll say. $247 per month. That would be your final answer. All right. What do we got here? Let's see. We just covered... Oh, good. We get to talk about chocolate. Who doesn't like chocolate, right? Let's talk about Hershey chocolate here. So, Hershey chocolate USA makes small fun-sized chocolate bars. How many 20-bar packages can be filled with 11,267 bars? How many will be left over? Okay, so we got to figure out first, what are they asking for? Let's reread the problem here. Hershey Chocolate USA makes small, fun-sized chocolate bars. How many 20-bar packages can be filled with 11,267 bars? How many bars will be left over? So they gave you 11,267 to start. How many 20-bar packages? So they're going to divide this into groups of 20. So we divide by 20. Now we need to pick a variable to represent the solution. How many packages? I'm going to say P. That's a good variable. So let P equal the number of 20-bar packages. So now you're simply left with another long division problem here. We got 11,267 divided by 20. 20 goes into 112. Well, 6 times 20 would be 120, so it can't be that. It'd have to be 5. So 5 times 20 is 100. 112 minus 100 is 12. Bring down the 6 here from the dividend. So how many times does 20 go into 126? It goes in 6 times. 6 times 20 is 120. 126 minus 120 is 6. Bring down your 7. How many times does 20 go into 67? It goes in 3 times. And 3 times 20 is 60. 67 minus 60 is 7. There's nothing further to bring down from the dividend, so you're going to have 563 with a remainder of 7 as your answer for P. Which P, again, we said let it equal the number of 20-bar packages. So you'll have 563 whole 20-bar packages. So 563 20-bar packages. And then you'll have a remainder of 7, so that'll be 7 bars left over. And then there and that is your final answer. All right. Let's see what's next. There's only a few more problems, then we'll be done with the lesson. But once you figure out what a word, the hardest part of a word problem oftentimes is figuring out what they're asking you for. Once you figure that out, it's smooth sailing from there. Alright, we have a couple of what's called multi-step problems. So, let's see. An airline has a commercial aircraft with 4 rows of 6 seats across in first class and 35 rows of 7 seats across in economy class. Now they are asking you to find the total number of seats on the plane. Okay. So let's read the problem, see what they're asking here, what they give you. An airline has a commercial aircraft with 4 rows of 6 seats across and 35 rows of 7 seats across in economy class. Oh, sorry, 4 rows of 6 seats across in first class and 35 rows of 7 seats across in economy class. They want you to find the total number of seats on the plane. Here they give us 2 types of seats. You're going to want to start by figuring out how many of each type of seat are there first. So there are 4 rows with 6 seats across, so 4 times 6 each. We'll pick a variable to be our solution for first class. So F, we'll let F equal the number of first class seats. Okay. So 4 times 6, well, that's easy. That's going to be 24 equals F. So there are 24 first class seats. We can soundly say that. Now they also give you that there are 35 rows of 7 seats across in economy class. We will let big letter E, we'll say let E equal number of economy class seats. Well, we got to figure out what is 35 times 7. Figure that out on the side here. 35 times 7. So 5 times 7 is 35. Keep your 5. Bring your 3 up above to the next place. 7 times 3 is 21. Plus 3 is 24. So 245 equals the number of economy class seats. So there are 245 economy class seats. Now, if you want to figure out the entire plane, you got to add the 2 together. You'll simply take the 245 and your 24. That's going to equal T, which we will let T equal total seats. T is your total number of seats. Now all we got to do to solve this problem is figure out what is 245 plus 24. So we add them up. 5 and 4 is 9. 4 and 2 is 6. 2 and 0 is 2. So there are 269 seats on the plane. After having added all this up, there are 269 seats. And that would be your final answer. I got one more problem like it, and the lesson will be over. These multi-step problems can get a bit confusing because it's really asking you for several pieces of information. Alright, last one here is going to be number 10. Alright. Before going back to college, David buys 4 shirts at $59 each, and 6 pairs of pants at $78 each. What is the total cost of his clothing? Okay, so we need to figure out, again, this is a multi-step problem. Dave, before going back to college, David buys 4 shirts at $59 each and 6 pairs of pants at $78 each. What is the total cost of his clothing? Well, we need to start with figuring out. They give you, to start with, 4 shirts, so that's 4. They're each $59 times $59. What is the solution variable we want to pick? We'll say S. So we'll let S equal total cost of shirts. So far we're only figuring out the shirts. So we have a simple solution here of, we have a simple problem of 59 times 4. So 9 times 4 is 36. Keep your 6, carry your 3. 4 times 5 is 20, plus 3 is 23. So $236 equals S, which means $236 for shirts. Next, we need to figure out, they also gave us 6 pairs of pants at $78 each. So that's going to be 6 times 78. We'll let P, so let's see, let P equal total cost of pants. Now we have a simple multiplication problem of 78 times 6. 8 times 6 is 48. Keep your 8, carry your 4. 6 times 7 is 42, plus 4 is 46. So we have $468 equals P. So he spent $468 for pants. So far we've found 2 pieces of information. It looks to be that from this problem, if you add up the cost of the shirts total and the cost of the pants total, you'll get the total cost of his clothing. So you take the total cost of his shirts, S, plus the total cost of his pants, P. That'll give you T, which is the total cost of his clothing. So let T equal total cost for clothes. Okay. Well, we found S already. That's $236. $236. P is $468. Together, those two are going to give you the total cost, T. So now we can just simply do an addition problem here on the side. 6 plus 8 is 14, so you keep the 4, carry the 1. 1 plus 3 is 4, plus 6 is 10, keep the 0, carry the 1. 1 plus 2 is 3, plus 4 is 7. So that would have to mean that the total cost equals $704. Total cost is $704, and that is your final answer. You did spend quite a bit for clothes, that's for sure. And that would appear that that would be all for today for word problems. As we get further into units and stuff, we will do some more word problems, but for today I think this will suffice. You got to see the nature of what you're up against so far with addition, subtraction, multiplication, division word problems. Next lesson we will talk about exponents. Thank you very much. Have a good day.